So when you use the basement, if I were to use the basement and I start to draw on it, I'd start with my line command here, and you see that it's giving me a dashed line, like that. Just like down here, that's what I'm getting here. Okay, just using that line type is what gives it to me. And that's what's in the template. That's why I gave you guys these templates so you wouldn't have to do all that work. But I will show you real quickly how you would make that work if you needed to. Your line types, like, so when you make a, like, let's say you wanted to make a new layer and you wanted to put a gas line to your house, okay? Well then, I go here, and I go ahead and call it gas line. G-A-S-L-I-N-E. All right, and then what I do, I'm going to make it real bold so I can see it. So I'm going to make it yellow. And then what I'm going to do is that I want a line type that I don't see here, so I double click. And it shows me all the line types that are in the drawing. There's center, center times 2, continuous, hidden, and phantom. Well, if I click on load at this point, and then I go down, I can go ahead and grab a line type called gas. When I grab gas line and hit OK, I then select it and hit OK, and then you see it's now been assigned to this layer. So now if I were to draw on this particular layer, just a line, this is what you get. All right, so that is how a line type works. And a line type can be a dashed line. It can be like what we have here, a gas line, hot water line. There's a lot of different line types, but I have some line types associated with the layers right now. So as long as you use the template, you're good to go. All right, so that is how that works. So that's the bulk of what I want to show you guys tonight. So it's going to be this right here. This is what we're going to be working on. And I think that's enough to get you guys where you need to go. Are there any questions about that?
What about the window, the curved window?
What about the curved window? All right, that is here on your, the dimensions are here on the dimension on the sheet. Well, all you do is this, okay, since it's 3 feet, what you would do is to draw that window, okay, over here. This is where you would say, okay, let's make this window. Okay, so that's a detail type thing, so you might put on the border there. It might not be on the right layer, but we won't worry about that. So I would go ahead and start my line command. I'd go here, and I would go ahead and say 3 feet. All right, 3 feet. Cool. Now that gives me the bottom of it. And then the next thing it gives me is the radius. The radius is supposed to be 1 foot 6 inches, so that's 18 inches. So I could do this by just putting in a circle with center and radius. Okay, so I go here, center radius, I go there. I want a midpoint object snap, and I'm not seeing it. So I turn on midpoint, I go here. And then that's what I want, and I go to 18, and boom, that's about perfect. Okay, so then what I would do is we learned about trim and the nuclear option. So I'm going to start with trim. I hit everything, and I'll go ahead and hit this, and that goes away. Now, it tells us right now that the mullions are 1 inch thick. So to get that first line, these are 2 individual lines. So I could offset them one by one, but it'd be easier to turn this all into one polyline. So to do that, I just select them and type in J for join. I just typed in J at the command line, and now it's 1 unit. All right, then I offset it 1 inch, and I go here, and I go to there. Now once I got that, then I got to get my other elements inside here. So what I do is I start my line command again. I'm going to go right from the center, because I know that it's got to start there anyway. So I got that. Now, I got to offset it in both directions to get my thickness. So how far would I offset each of those? Half an inch. So I go ahead and offset. You guys are thinking here. Okay, so we go to offset 0.5, like that. I'd go over here, over there, and like that. And that's that. And then this would, I don't really need that anymore, but I'll leave it. I'll clean it out in a minute. Now the next thing I can do is I can actually rotate those and make a copy. Now this is where it gets kind of cool. I could actually delete this, and to rotate to this and make a copy, I can say, okay, let's go ahead and rotate this. So what do I want to rotate? These. All right. And what's the base point? Right here between these. So I go here, then I go in this direction right here, or that direction. If I go in this direction, that is, I think it's probably 45. And I did make a copy though. So what I should have done is make a copy. So I'll go back to rotate, and grab this, and base point's here. I'm going to type in, I want to make sure it's a copy. So I'll go ahead and type in 45. It's kind of weird, the copy command in this, the copy rather than the rotate command here is set up incorrectly. All right, let me fix it though. Go here, I'll go to the base point, all right, and then I'll go to the copy mode, and let's let me do this. Choose copy, all right, go to copy, 10:45. All right, got that. Okay, so then, so that, you see how that worked there? That makes sense? I rotate, no, rotate it again, grab this one, and I'll do the same thing, grab the same base point. And then this one, if I want to make life easy for myself, I want to make it a copy. And then the second thing I'll do is I'll say -45, which is the easy cheater way to go ahead and do that instead of figuring out 145. So go to that. And that is how you create that. Now, the last thing you can do is just extend these. We talked about extend command last week, trim and extend act the same way. I'll use extend, and what my boundary is going to be this. I right click, and then I click here, and here, and here, and here. And that's all good. And the last thing I have to do is just clean it up by trimming. So trim, and I can just go ahead and trim, and I go ahead and just grab everything at the cutting edge. And then you guys kind of get the feel for this thing, I think, here. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of clean this up. That. Right. Okay, and then down here, just have to erase these. All right, did that make sense, how we did that? We just used some basic, we just used the same kind of CAD commands we've been using all along, and just kind of like making them do our bidding for us. And that's how you make that window. There's other ways to do it. That's just one way that you can make that happen. Any questions about that? Okay, so that is how you do that, and then you could turn it into a block and just drop it, but you don't have to. Okay, if that's okay, then I'll come back and do a little more teaching later on. But that's the basics of what we've learned so far. I did want to talk about one last thing, and that is the move command, because the move command and all the modified commands work the same way. Just let me show you real quickly how this will work. When you start the move command, there's 5 steps. Let me show you what the 5 steps are, because these 5 steps are the same for a lot of the editing commands. I start the move command. So number 1, start the command. Number 2, select the objects. Now, we're just going to sit here in a stare down match until I tell AutoCAD I want to move to the next thing. So what do? You right click, I hit my enter key or hit my space bar. Now, I have to give it a base point. So that's 3 items we have so far. My base point is here. This is where I start from. And then I tell it where to go to. All right, those are the steps. So 5 steps. Okay, we'll start that again. Number 1, you start the command. Number 2, you select the objects. Number 3, you right click. Number 4, we select the base point. Number 5, we tell the final point. So there's those 5 steps. And they operate pretty much the same way with all these commands. So all these commands clustered up here, they all have kind of the same way. Copy. We start the copy command, number 1. Number 2, select objects. Number 3, you right click. Number 4, you select the base point. And then number 5, you pick where you want them to go. So it's 5 steps. Next one is rotate. Number 1, start the command. Number 2, select objects. Number 3, right click. Number 4, select the base point. Number 5, tell it the angle. So they all operate on those 5 basic steps. So mirror operates the same way. You get the idea. I don't want to bore you. But that's the thing. Mirror, scale, they all work the same way. They're going to ask you, and then it won't do anything until you right click, and then it's going to ask for base point. So that's how all the editing commands work. So you just have to read your command line, and please notice that as I'm working with AutoCAD, it's asking me basically right along what's going on. So to give you an idea, like this one right here, we go to move. So number 1, number 2, we go there. Number 3, we right click. And then notice that down here, it's going right along and saying what you're supposed to do. So I'll do that one more time. Start the move command. It also says it on down here in the command line. So it says select objects. I go ahead and select my objects. I right click. Now specify base point. I specify the base point. And then I go ahead and tell it where it's going to go. So it's going to show up on your command line.